Okay. Hi, my name is Stephanie Comella, and we're here with PD Active doing a neuro-movement class, which is a blend of floor-based exercises, Pilates exercises, sensory integration to help improve our movement coordination and efficiency. With the floor-based movement, it helps us with the mobility of moving around on the floor and also the coordination and strength to stand up off the floor if we happen to succumb to gravity at some point, right? So go ahead and make your way down to the ground if you haven't already. We'll start on the floor. And we'll start similar to how we did last week with a little body scan laying on our backs. Go ahead and lay on your back. Make sure you push things out of the way if you have lots of space. And go ahead and just lay down on your back there. Oh, my other assistant right here is gonna say hello. All right, go ahead and just lay down on your back and get settled. Taking a few breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And we'll take a body scan from feet to head, just to bring some attention to how our body is at this point in time. And then after we do some movement, we can come back to this assessment and see if there's been any change. So take notice of your right foot. How's that right foot? Is it turned out? Is it turned in? How is it laying on the floor? Is it pointed? Is it flexed? You can do some movements as we go through this to kind of bring some of that kinesthetic awareness as well. Point and flex that right foot. So like pressing on the gas and then lifting off the gas pedal with the right foot. Notice if that feels easy or challenging or your calf feels tight. Do some circles with that ankle as well. See if you can isolate those circles just in your ankle joint. So not necessarily rolling your whole thigh or your leg, but just rolling the ankle, and then switch the direction of those circles. And then let's bring our attention over to the left foot. How is that left foot laying on the ground? Is it turned out? Is it turned up? Is it hard to feel or hard to notice? And go ahead and do some point and flex of that foot as well and see how that ankle moves. Is there rigidity or tightness? Is there fluidity? Maybe some circles will give you a little bit more information about that ankle. When we're talking about balance, those of you interested in improving balance, the foot and ankle mobility, so just the flexibility in your ankle, and then the ability for the ankle to move and accommodate based off of the terrain or the angle of your body is important. Balance isn't just static balance. We're rarely ever just balancing on one foot. It's usually reactionary to our environment. Maintaining balance after tripping on something or maintaining balance on a slippery surface. It's a reaction. Let's go ahead and bend your knees up so your feet are flat on the floor and pad the floor with your toes. So you're working on this lift and lower of your feet, and you're going to be working your shin muscles quite a bit. So if you get a burn in your shin, you are doing it right. You may notice that creates a little bit of bobbing in your body as well. Let that happen. Let the bobbing happen in your body. Let the energy move through your body so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Good. Bring your right knee into your chest and grab your hand behind your thigh. Right knee into your chest and grab your hand behind your thigh. And if this is hard to hold your hand behind your thigh, remember, you can use things like straps and hold your thigh with the strap. That's nice too. Let's kick your leg up towards the ceiling. And I want you to show the sole of your foot to the ceiling. So dorsiflex that foot, pull your foot back towards your shin, and then point your foot and bend your knee back into tabletop. So we're going to flex the foot and then kick up with your heel
and then point the foot and then bend in. Good. Flex the foot and kick up, point the foot and bend in. Flex the foot, kick up, bend the foot, kick in. 2 more times, flex the foot, kick up, and then bend your foot, point your foot and come on in. Replace that right leg down on the ground. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So grabbing behind your thigh, or grabbing maybe your pants if you're having a hard time wrapping your whole leg. We're going to go heel up towards the ceiling. Make sure that your foot is as flat as possible. So pull the top of the foot towards your shin, and then point your foot and bend it back into tabletop. Flex the foot and kick vertical. Point the foot and bend down. Nice. Flex the foot and kick vertical. Point the foot and bend down. Nice work. We're going to go a couple more here, working through that. So actively lengthening through the back of your leg, actively stretching by squeezing your top thigh muscle, your quad muscle. We're going to go 2 more. And last one, flex, kick, point, and lower, getting that whole leg in there. Go ahead and drop your knees, feet flat on the mat again. Let's let your knees go out wide. So you go a little butterfly stretch in the inner thighs, and then actively pull your legs back together. Again, knees are going to drop wide out to either side, and then squeeze the thighs together with an exhale. Inhale, let your thighs go out. See how far out your legs go, and then bring it back to the center. Does one leg stretch further than the other? And then return. And you can make that active. Put your hands on the outside of your hips. And as you press your knees out to the side, squeeze the muscles that are underneath your hands. And then bring your inner thighs back together. We'll squeeze the outside of your hips and then open up. We'll go 2 more times here. Yep. And last one. Finish with your knees back to the center. Take your right foot, and we're going to dorsiflex your right foot. So top of foot to shin. Slide the heel out long so the leg is flat on the ground. So your leg is long on the mat. We're going to rotate your thigh out to the side. So the toe is going to twist outward. Bend your knees so that the heel comes back to your hips, and then fold that leg back to center. Okay. So a little bit more different angle in case you need that instruction. We're going to dorsiflex the foot, slide it out long, roll the thigh open out to the side so the ceiling is seeing your inner thigh. Pull the leg in and then fold the knee back center. Slide the leg, roll it open, and then pull it back through. Okay. Rotation in your hips. Yeah. 2 more on that leg. Good. Using your abs to help you pull that leg back to the center. Hot exhale. Good. Same thing on the other side. We're going to dorsiflex the foot, slide it out, roll the thigh out to the side, and then pull up and center. Again, reach, roll, slide, and pull up. Good. And you're going to move at your own pace. If I'm going faster or slower than you, no big deal. Just be mindful about what you're doing. Good. Juicy mobility in those hips. Lots of lubrication. Get those hip joints to move around in all sorts of ways. Let's go. Last one. Beautiful. And release. Hands are going to come onto your pelvis if they're not already there. Let's start to move up the spine a little bit. We're going to rock the pubic bone towards your nose and press your low back down into the ground. And then rock your pubic bone away from your nose, or sorry, your pubic bone is at the front part of your pelvis, away from your nose, and create an arch in your back. So you could maybe even put your hands underneath there. So we're going to rock the pubic bone towards your nose, make your back super flat on the ground. Activate those abs to make the back flat. And then release your abs a little bit. Stretch the front of your abs so that you go arch in the back and you're contracting your back muscles now. We go, curl the tail underneath you, abs in, and then extend and activate your back muscles on the other side. Go ahead and rock from front to back with your hips. Again, you can use your hands on your hips to help you understand how big am I rocking in one direction? How big am I rocking the other direction? Can I make this amplitude of my movement, the amplitude of my movement, really big from one extreme to the next? Yeah. As you flatten out your back on the ground, try to sync your breath with that. So you exhale on the back flattening component, and you inhale on the arching component. Exhale and inhale. And I'm not going to cue that because I know everyone's moving at a different pace. So just pair it with your own metronome, your breath metronome. One more time here. Go ahead and flatten out your back. We're going to pull that up into a bridge. So you're flattening out your back. Start to peel your hips up off the ground and lift your hips up towards the ceiling into that glute bridge. Remember, when you're in your glute bridge, try not to look to the side if that's so good for your neck. If you need to look at a demo, do it when your hips are down. From here, we're going to roll our spine down to the mat. Start at the top of the ribs, like right in between your shoulder blades. Roll down one vertebrae at a time. Mid back, low back, top of your pelvis, and tail releases out into just your neutral, just laying down on the ground. Okay, let's go through that again. Tip the pubic bone towards your nose, flatten out your back. Start to press through your feet so that you lift your hips up towards the ceiling, opening up your shoulders as you come up. Articulate your spine as you come down, nice and slow. Rolling through and feeling each individual segment of your spine have its turn to lay down. Okay, work through that a few more times at whatever pace you're working at. Rolling up and rolling down. And again, using your breath as sort of a metronome for that movement. I like to exhale when I'm curling the tail. At the top, I take an inhale to reset. And then exhale again to curl the spine and roll down. Very nice. Let's go one more time, please, of whatever version you're at. Here we go. Rolling on up and rolling on down. Nice. All right, let's separate those feet about mat width apart. So really, really wide. Arms are going to come out into a T. Let your knees fall over to the right. Your head and eyes are going to look to your left hand. So knees are going one way, eyes and head go to the opposite direction. We do this every week, don't we? Here we go. Knees are going to switch to the other side, eyes and head go the other way. Go ahead and work through that again from right to left at a pace that makes sense for you. The wider your feet are, the more of a stretch you're going to get on that hip flexor when your knees drop. So check in with yourself as you come through the center with those knees. Are my feet super wide? Like wider than a yoga mat would be. There you go. Good. I see adjustments. Nice job checking in. That's where that body awareness is important, right? You have to be aware of your body because if I'm teaching a group and I'm just giving you guidelines, right? You have to know, is that cue for me? Is she talking to me? Yeah, she might be talking to me. I better separate my feet. Yeah, good. Go ahead and rock from side to side, taking your eyes with it or in the opposite direction. Let's go one more time. Here's a new one. We're going to do what's called a bretzel stretch. Let's let the legs drop to the left. The legs are going to drop left. So you've got these knees going left. Your left leg, your left foot is going to go on top of your right knee. It's very odd. And then pull into this traction. It's called a bretzel stretch, rhymes with pretzel. You're going to feel like a pretzel. Yeah. And if you do not like it, you do not need to do it. Just find another stretch that feels good. Nice. Keep this configuration here. We're going to bring it up. That foot's going to come into just like underneath you. So now you're in what's called a figure four stretch. You can grab that right leg if that feels right for you and pull a little bit deeper if you want more. It's a figure four stretch. There you go. Or just pull the top of your leg. Yeah. You can rock a little bit here to soothe the system. Good. And then go ahead and release that stretch. Let's go really wide through your feet again. We got to do the bretzel stretch on the other side. Let your knees go to the right. And we're going to take that right foot and bring it on top of the left knee and draw into that lateral hip stretch, that hip flexor stretch, the pretzel stretch. And again, if you don't like it, you can go into the figure 4 right away. Bring yourself back into your figure 4 position. So your leg's going to come a little bit more underneath you now. And then if you would like a little bit deeper stretch for that right hip, you're going to pull the left knee in towards your chest. So you can like reach one hand through the hole and one hand on the outside of the leg and then pull. And you can rock a little bit there too, soothe. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and disassemble that. We're going to take your hands down by your side again and feet flat, hook line position. We're going to bring some shoulder movement in here. Go ahead and just bring your arms, slide your arms along the floor like you're making a snow angel in the ground to bring your arms up past your ears. If you're like me, you're making, instead of snow angels, you're making dog hair angels. And hands come down and bring your arms up overhead. See, so again, baseline assessment. How are your shoulders moving? Can you keep them close to the mat? If not on the mat, does one like to be floating off the mat more than the other? Again, just noticing, taking notes. Let's add a bridge with this. So we're going to bring the arms up overhead past your ears, if that feels okay for you. From here, press your hips up towards the ceiling. So you have your feet in your hook line position, yeah? And then go ahead and tap your hips down and push your hips back up. No articulation this time, so no body rolls. Just up and down. Booty squeeze, hips go up. Good. Pushing through your feet. Feel your whole foot contribute to the motion. You got your arms up overhead. We're going to go for 4 more. 3 more. 2. 1 more time. Push. And then roll down. Nice job. Let your knees go right and left very quickly. You can bring your arms down by your side. All right, we're going to challenge this bridge by bringing it to a single leg option. Again, kind of working into this theme of balance. So sort of standing on one leg when you're in a single leg bridge. Bring your feet really, really close together and press your hips up towards the ceiling. Make sure that your arms are active and pressing into the ground. We're going to weight shift into let's weight shift into the left leg and bring your right leg into tabletop. So now all of that work is in your left glute and left hamstring. Okay. Replace that right foot down on the ground, weight shift right, left leg comes into tabletop. Dorsiflex your foot so your leg is active. You got it. We're going to go ahead and alternate from right to left. We call this bridge marching from right to left. Depending on where you're at today, you may be able to go a little bit faster, but keep it tidy. Keep it tidy. So not a lot of drama in the weight shift. Keep it tidy. Right when that foot comes down, you accept that responsibility so the other leg can take a break and lift up. All right, we're going to go for 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Foot goes down, articulate down, and all the way. Send your legs out long on the ground so your legs are now straight. You're going to take the arm that's closest to me and bring it up past your ears. One ear, I should say. And your arm that's furthest away from me is going to sweep down towards your hips and help you roll over on top of your arm that's closest to me. So you're going to roll over onto your side and you should be facing me. And if your camera is not in that position, you can just pick a side and go with it. All right, so I'm using my bottom arm as a pillow here, but if that doesn't feel right for you for whatever reason, you can put a real pillow underneath you. Top hand's going to be used for some stability on the ground here if you need it. And I'll show you the options to wean off of that hand when you're ready. We're going to take both feet and dorsiflex your feet, so toes to nose. Push down through that top arm and your bottom arm to help you lift both legs up. What would that look like? Both legs are lifting. Oh boy. And then lower the legs down. Nice. So bottom leg lifts up on the top leg. Squeeze the bottom leg up on the top leg. Let's add some fanciness through the feet here. Point your toes and then lower the legs down. At the bottom, we'll flex the feet, toes to nose. Lift the legs up. Point the toes and then lower the legs. Nice job. Flex, float, point, and down. Now try to keep your hips stacked over one another. I know it's tempting when you lift the legs to maybe want to roll back a little bit. So make sure you're truly on the side of your hip. And if you need more padding for that hip, again, do what you need to do for your body. Okay, we're going to do a couple more. The up level from this would be to bring that top hand on your hip and see if you can stay balanced on the side of your body. Good. We're going to go 3 more. Good. Keep those hips stacked. Don't lean back. 2 more. Yep. Last one. Flex, float, point, and lower. Nice job. Bring that top arm up overhead, and take a big stretch, almost like you want to lift your waistline off the floor here. You're going to stretch that whole top side. And if you have, like, I just realized I have a piece of equipment over here that I'm grabbing onto and stretching with that feels really nice. So if you have something to grab onto, go ahead and grab it. We're going to take that top elbow and the top knee and bring them into a little bit of a match. This is called side lizard. Notice how active my foot is. Remember, we talked about for balance, it's important that your feet are active. We're going to go out, big stretch, reach, the waistline lifts, push down through your bottom limbs to help you create that relationship up top. We're going to go reach and pull, reach and pull. See if you can keep the hips forward. Try not to let yourself roll back when you make that relationship. I want the leg to have to come out to the side. Yeah. So you were in a hallway of glass. You'd have to like really rotate that leg open. Let's go 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Nice work. Bend your knees in. Hand comes down. We worked on this last week, I think. Yeah. Push yourself up. And we're going to swing the legs around and go to the other side. Now, if you do not like that transition for whatever reason, you can just roll over to the other side, okay? This way, we're just facing one another. And you get to do the fancy transition in between. Build in that. All right, so we had the bottom arm used as a pillow. Or use a real pillow. Top hand on the floor. Yep, some of us are still getting settled and waiting for the team. All right, so we're gonna go dorsiflex the feet, push down through your bottom arm and the top leg to float both legs up. Point the feet, if you have space, and then lower the legs down. Scoot up a little bit. Flex, float, point, and lower. And again, try not to let yourself roll back when you float those legs up. Keep your hips stacked. Where am I? Flex, float, point, and lower. Very nice. Flex, float, point, and lower. We're going to do a bunch more. Actually, some of us are just getting started on this exercise. So I just want to make sure that you have enough time to work through it. Extra attention to those feet and ankles. I really want them involved in each of the exercises here. When you involve the furthest point of your body in the exercise, it inherently means that everything in between your brain and that point is in a couple more. Yep. And last one. Good, good. And release. Awesome. Am I still with you? Am I still with you? Give me a thumbs up if I'm still with you. I saw perfect. Okay. I just saw my internet had a little thing. Okay. Reach the top arm up and waistline lifted. Big stretch. We're going to take top elbow and top knee. Make a relationship happen, and then stretch and lengthen. Let's point the feet when you push out to go long, and dorsiflex when you make that elbow bend, knee bend. So working through again, the whole foot. As you bring that knee up towards the ceiling, try not to let your body roll backwards. We want it to come out to the side of your body. Work your hip mobility that makes that leg come up and out to the side. Yeah. Let's go 4 more. 3 more. 2. And last one. Nicely done. Beautiful. And then release. We're going to roll onto our stomach next. If you need to work yourself around so that you can still see me, go ahead and do that. Wiggle yourself around. All right, so we're on our stomach. Let's go ahead and place our forehead on our hands. Forehead on your hands. And when you get here, let's bend the knees up so that the heels come to the bum. And let your feet go from right to left. We call this window washing your shins. You're going to get some rotation in your low back, some movement in your thigh joints. Yeah. And actually, Teresa, let's have the legs go together. So they'll move from right to left together. Yeah. Yeah. You get that rotation now. Good. All right, go ahead and let your legs go long. We're going to place the hands next to your shoulders on the ground. So fingers really, really wide here. From here, push into your hands a little bit so that you get what's called this chest lift. You're going to lift your head up off the ground, lift your chest up off the ground and hold. Now try not to crank your neck here. I want you to still maintain length through the back of your head and out. So I like to use my ponytail as an example. Imagine if someone were to pull on the ponytail there to lengthen through. And then go ahead and lower down to the mat. You're almost going to like boop the mat with your nose or kiss the floor. Push through your hands to create a little bit of openness in the front of your chest. And then lower back down. Okay. So as you get stronger and stronger at this one, you may be able to get to your height of the chest lift. And we take one or both hands off the ground. And then we come back down to the ground. Okay. So you're going to use your arms to help you get the chest press up. And then when you feel strong enough, you can lift your hands off the ground and then release. So you can just test the waters there. Good. Extend, open, down, and return. Good. Now, if you're having a little bit of discomfort in your low back, just remember your low back is working in this exercise, and that's a good thing. We want a strong low back. But if you're feeling not good about that, draw your abs in a little bit here so that you can decompress your low back. Okay, let's do 2 more of those chest lifts. We go up, maybe float the hands, maybe not, and then bring it down. Last one, we'll press up, float the hands, and then come down and release. Nice job. Let's bring your right arm up past your ear. Right arm up past your ear. Left hand's going to go down just a little bit more towards your belly button. And we're going to push off your left hand to have you roll onto your side. Push off the left hand to have you roll onto your side. Now, if that doesn't feel good on your shoulder, you can adjust that arm a little bit, kind of tuck it in so that you can fully roll over onto your shoulder. Don't get too comfortable there. We're going to come all the way back down to your stomach. Other arm's going to stretch forward. So left arm's now going to be forward, right arm pulls back, push down into the ground until you can roll over onto your side and then return. Go ahead and work through just that little rolling skill, pushing off and rolling. Pushing off and rolling. Yeah, and again, everyone's working at their own pace. Everyone's working on their own pace. Let's do 1 or 2 more. Good. And then finish with your hands next to your side. All right, here's the big push. We're going to push our hips back over our heels. 1, 2, 3. Ha! Exhale, push your hips back and come into that stretch. All right.
Let's work through that motion a few more times. Again, some of you are going to move faster or slower. We're going to come all the way down, negative. I call it a negative push-up or a lowering to the ground. Take your time so that you can resist gravity. 1, 2, 3, big push back. Hips come back over heels. And then bring it in. Nice. Beautiful. Exhale, push back. Good. And again, work at your own pace. If you want to go faster than me, by all means, go faster. Get that heart rate up a little bit. Working on that upper body strength. Push back. Good. Use your breath as a metronome. So on the exertion, you can exhale. We're going to go for 10 more seconds, however much more you can get in 10 seconds. Abs in, exhale, push. There you go. Fold those hips back. 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Bum comes back and stay there. Let's bring your knees wide, but your toes sort of together. And then bring your elbows down onto the ground and sit your hips back as far as you can sit them back. So it's a frog stretch as opposed to a child's pose. Frog just means your knees are really wide. Okay. And then you can rock from here, pull yourself over your elbows and then shift your bum back, pull forward and shift back. Nice. Working your end range a bit more, a little bit more purposeful just in that end range. Yeah. Last 2. One more time. Nicely done. Good. Let's go ahead and collect those knees back a little bit more narrow. And then bring ourselves into full hands and knees. Full hands and knees. Okay, widen out through your fingers. Widen out through your fingers. Slinky cat cow. Slinky, slinky, slinky. So start with your tail lifted and your eyes up. We're going to roll from the tail first. Round your spine sequentially through. And then your head and your eyes will be the last thing that drops under. Reverse it starting with the tail again. The tail will come open first. Let that wave through the body, heart drops, shoulders open, eyes come up, okay? Feel the slinkiness of that just like you did in your bridge. Roll the tail underneath, push the ground away, head drops. Tail always first, tail always first. There you go, pushing the ground away and then letting your heart drop towards the floor. Let's do 2 more. 2 more, wave through. Yeah, nice. Good. Now, if we did the cat cow working on the segmentation of your spine and flexion and extension, what would it look like if we did it in a lateral sense? So if you started to sidewind your hips from right to left, and not just a weight shifting right and left, but like a tail stretching. Imagine you had, this is what my mentor said. If you had an alligator tail, like a really long tail, how would you have to wag a really long alligator tail versus like a cottontail, right? The effort is different. Yeah. Now see if you can create a little bit more slinkiness with that. It's like winding through. Yeah, Lana, nice job. Getting creative. I like it. Yeah, and moving with your hips, moving with your pelvis. Yeah, good. Maybe 2 more. And last one. Nice job. From here, round your spine and set your hips back. We worked on this again last week, cat stretch. We're going to pull ourselves up like a zombie coming out of the swamp. And then pop your head up on top of your spine. So coming into your tall kneeling on your knees. If you need to pad up your knees a little bit, please pad up your knees. Okay. All right, let's go wide through your knees. So we have a little bit steadier base of support here. Reach one hand down your side. I will go left hand down your side. Right arm's going to side stretch over the top. See if you can open up your chest a little bit towards the ceiling. Return it and then cartwheel yourself back upright. Now, if you need, sometimes it's helpful to have some sort of yoga block or something here on either side. So if you come over to the side and you want to put your hand on a yoga block or a book, we can go side stretch here and pushing through that yoga block to rotate open towards the ceiling, unrotate, and then bring yourself back up, okay? So that yoga block trick or that book trick is just an option for you, okay? I want to show you all the ways that you can support your body through the movement if you need it. Come over to the side again, we'll rotate open towards the ceiling and then forward and then come upright. Go ahead and work through that at a pace that makes sense for you. Your eye gaze would be forward in your side bend, look open towards the ceiling, look back forward, and then come upright. Open up to the side, rotate eyes and chest to the ceiling, rotate back forward, and then come on up. Let's do one more time to the other side. Inhale into those ribs, rotate open to the ceiling, back forward, and then all the way upright. Nice job. From here, hands on your hips. Okay, we're going to bring one leg forward into a split kneeling position or like a proposal stance. If you need to hold on to something, please hold on to something. Otherwise, hands on your hips. So we go forward, one foot in front. Simple, right? Bring one leg forward. We're going to lean into that for a hip flexor stretch. And then shift back out of it, straighten your knee for a hamstring stretch. We're going to lean into it. Yeah, you can put your hands down. That's fine. And then shift back for a hamstring stretch. Good. Work through whatever version of that makes sense for you. I want something rocking, something weight shifting between the front knee, the front foot, and the back leg. Okay. The stretch is kind of built into that. Good. Two more. Yeah. Pad up those knees if you need a little extra padding. Do it. I'm right on the verge of needing an extra pad. There we go. One more set of that little bit of rocking. Nice job. Good. Let's fold that leg back underneath us. There's Stella, make it a little appearance. Other leg's gonna come forward. Okay, set yourself up. Rock forward, weight shift into the front leg. Shift back, stretch your front hamstring. Go ahead and find a version of that is for you. Okay, so if you want to go hands on the floor for the rocking, all good. You want to challenge your balance, you can do it with hands off the floor, or maybe there's an intermediate step there where you have just one hand on a yoga block. Very good. I love it. Two more. Excellent. And then replace that foot back in. Okay. From here, just go for like a stationary kind of jogging arms with your arms. That makes sense. Of course, jogging arms would be with the arms. Add a little bit of trunk rotation with that. So instead of it being like robo arm running, we have rotation in the torso. That's it, Teresa. Nice job. Good, everyone. Nice. That looks great. David, more rotation. Get your zipper to look to side. There you go. Yeah. Okay. And then vigorous. Go. Vigorous. It's going to be a little bit more stationary. Sprint. Big swings with the arms. Come on. And then smooth, long strides with the rotation. Right? Good. Two more. Last one. Nice work. Shake it out. Arms in front of you. We're going to take left arm up towards the ceiling. See if you can brush your bicep close to your ear or somewhere in that direction. Rotate behind you and go ahead and look at that hand behind you. It's going to sweep down towards your hips and then back in front of you. Other side, arm comes up, it comes up. Maybe you brush your ear with your bicep. Look behind you as you backstroke, and then it comes back towards your hip and then in front of you. Now, as you go through this bit here, I want you to notice, what do your hips do? Do your hips also rotate or are they stuck? And if they feel quite rigid, go ahead and allow your hips to rotate in the direction that your arm is swinging. So if my right arm is going behind, my hips are rotating and weight shifting to the right and kind of like falling into that whole movement. Let your body go into that full movement. Yeah. And so it becomes, maybe if you sped it up, sort of this weight shifting experience with lots of movement in the hips, the trunk, the shoulders. Yes. And if you're getting dizzy, just eyes forward. Good. Nice. 2 more. And last one. Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break off the knees. Hands or no hands, sit off to one side. Hands or no hands, sit off to one side. Now, if that felt like a far drop, you may want to grab your pillow for the next little bit, and I'll just use my yoga block, but you can use a pillow. It's a little softer. Go ahead, hands or no hands, bring yourself back up into your high kneeling. Again, if that felt like a far drop, you're going to shove that pillow in right next to you. We're going to lower your hips down to your pillow or your block or whatever you're using. If you want to go all the way to the floor, of course, awesome. And then hands or no hands transition back into your high kneeling. So how many steps does it take you to get from essentially point A to point B? Okay. If you need to come on the ground and come forward and then come up to the end position, figure out what your strategy is here. This is a great opportunity to explore different ways to get from A to B. Okay. Good. And I'm just staying on one side. So if you have like one pillow on one side, we're just kind of hanging over on that one side. And of course we'll switch. Yeah. Okay. If you're using the pillow, let's go ahead and switch the pillow to the other side and practice that transition from side sitting to tall kneeling. And again, maybe it's coming into hands and knees and then sitting your hips down. No big deal. I'm holding space for you to explore that strategy. Good. And if using your hands is starting to feel pretty easy and you can do it quick, you're kind of like pop right up. See if you can do it with just one hand or no hands. There you go, Alana. Nice and slow. Work against gravity. Control yourself. Good. Last one. Nicely done. All right. Meet me up into a tall kneeling position. Meet me in a tall kneeling position. And make sure you have a bit of runway in front of you because we're going to do some knee walking here on the floor. And if you have just the length of your yoga mat, just scoot to the back side of your yoga mat. Now we're going to break this down a little bit. We're going to do knee walking, but I'm going to break it down sort of like when I break down crawling. So we're going to take left foot is going to do a step forward. I should say left knee. And you're going to take your right hand and tap your opposite hip. Okay. Then when we step with your other side, we're going to tap. Tap, 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 tap. And then when you run out of space, obviously we'll run out of space. When we run out of space, we're going to come down into crawling. Crawl backwards. If you remember from when we did this a couple weeks ago, you're going to lift one hand and the opposite knee at the same time and then step backwards. I know I realize I'm out of frame. So hand and opposite knee is going to step backwards at the same time. Hand, opposite knee steps backwards. Hand, opposite knee steps backwards. Just go backwards until you get back to your starting point. And then transition into your tall kneeling once you get to the end of your runway. So we're going to do the knee walking again. Notice that it's not just the knee coming forward, it's also your hip coming forward. So we go hip as we step, hip, a hip, hop, hippity hop. Yep. Hip, cross, cross. Yes. Check your opposite pocket. You have change in that pocket. Yes. And then once you get to the end, we get too close to the computer, opposite hand and knee, crawl backwards. Can you crawl backwards still looking forward? Nice. And then come up. We're going to do it again. Opposite hand to hip as you step. Here we go. Cross. Go slow for maybe the first for you until you get it. Cross. Cross. Eyes up. Don't look at the ground. It's not going anywhere. There we go. You look at the ground. You look down. You go down. Nice work. And then come down, crawling backwards. Oop. Nice work. Come back to your center of your mat. Let's bring it all the way down onto our backs again. And let's just settle on. Teresa, you're like, I was just getting into it. You can practice. You can keep practicing. You can keep practicing. I just realized that, this class goes by so fast for me. Hopefully it goes fast for you, but it goes fast, really fast for me. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay, we're done. So go ahead and lay yourself down on your back. Take a moment to feel how your body feels now in comparison to the beginning of class. We'll bring your attention to your right foot. Does it feel like it's turned in? Does it feel like it's turned out? Can you easily maneuver that foot or a little bit better maneuvering that foot into internal or external rotation? Maybe dorsiflex and plantar flex that foot and see how it feels now in comparison to earlier. Does their calf tightness still exist as much as it was before? Is there any improvements there in your control or awareness? Bring your attention to the left side and just feel your movements there. Is it internal and external rotation, pointing, flexing, circles? How did that side change, if at all? And if you're not quite sure, I know some of us are still working on that proprioception. Start super simple with these questions like, is there a difference? Yes or no? Or does it feel good? Yes or no? Does it feel tight? Yes or no? You can have very black and white kind of answers to these questions until you get a better sense of your body, and then you can be a little bit more descriptive with it. Bend your knees up so your feet are flat and go ahead and just pad through your feet a little bit, sending some vibration. You can either do both at the same time or alternating. And then rest your feet. Turn your head right and left to check your neck mobility. Yeah. And then reach those arms up overhead. Big stretch. Inhale. And exhale. And then just let your body be quiet on the mat for one more minute, reflecting back on the class that we just did, the movement experiences that we had. Replaying some of the drills that we did, what was challenging for you.
What did you surprise yourself with? What do you feel like you still want to work on? We did a lot of transitions today, moving from different kind of positions on the ground to we call it level changes. So if we go from like laying on your back to sitting up, or quadruped to high kneeling, that's a level change. And we're gradually building up this skill to getting up off the floor. All of those are important pieces to the puzzle. Take one more deep breath in, reach the arms up, inhale. And exhale. Nice work. Give yourself a little round of applause or pat on the back. Go ahead and roll off to the side and press yourself up to seated if you're ready to get up from there. I'm going to turn off the recording if you want to share with the class any experiences or questions. I'll be here for that.